the Rose City Classic turned into just that this past Friday night. It was a wildly back and forth, plot twisting kind of a game. Finally won by the Robert E. Lee Red Raiders over the John Tyler Lions, 37-31 at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium. Now JT has the week off, and then coming up a week from this Friday, it's that first district game against the White House Wildcats. And Coach Ricklan Holmes joins us here on Coach's Corner as we talk about the league game, and then we look ahead to White House and your off week. Coach, what can you, I'm not even going to, I'll just let you describe what the heck happened. That was, for the fans, a wildly entertaining game for both sides on Friday night. But in the end, Robert E. Lee came back and won that football game.
Like I told the guy going into halftime, I think it was one of your guys.
One of our guys on the radio.
I told him going into halftime, hey, right now we're playing very sloppy.
Yeah.
And if we continue to do the things that we're doing right now, the outcome of this game is not going to be in our favor. We made way too many mistakes. On the defense side of the ball, we had 65 missed tackles.
65 missed tackles.
You cannot win a football game that way. And on the offense side of the ball, we had a lot of success moving the ball. As you know, Jeremy Wilson had over 200 yards rushing. So our ground attack was our brightest point of the day. Didn't throw the ball very well, even though we connected on some good passes. We still didn't do the things that we needed in the air to take care of that game.
When you, and again on the radio, the interview you're referring to is our halftime interview going in. You're up 17-3, and our guy Manny Almanza grabs you like we always do, and you're saying that stuff, and I'm sitting up there in the press box going, yeah, coach talk. Yeah. But also I know you well enough to know that you would have said that if you didn't mean it. Oh, yeah. So as it turned out, I guess that was.
Most definitely, I'm a very realistic coach. I don't just say things to be cliche. So when I evaluate my team as the game is going or as we're practicing, I see the deals that we're doing, and I know the things that we can do. I know the things that we didn't do, and I know the things that we are capable of doing. And that first half, the score did not dictate how we was really playing.
A word about Robert E. Lee and what they did. You were impressed.
I was very impressed with them. I've been impressed with them ever since last year when we played them. Very talented offense, very structured, disciplined defense. They went out there and they capitalized on some plays that we made as mistakes. They came out there to win. They put together a great game plan to capitalize on the things that we didn't do right, that they knew that they could do right. Along with the missed tackles, along with some of the offensive blunders that we had, the game turned out 37-31.
Now, I know you've talked about this, and I've heard other coaches say, and you've been on the winning end of games like this too. You get behind, and you tell your guys, just keep playing. Just keep grinding, keep playing, because you never know in the end what can happen. Heck, I can think of a half a dozen games in your 3 years at John Tyler where, that sort of thing happens. You just kind of have to keep going along, don't you?
Yeah, and that's what you practice for. You practice to make sure that you do the fundamental things right to keep yourself in a position to overcome adversity and win football games. And Lee done a great job Friday night, just staying true to what they do, offense, defense, and special teams. And they end up making some plays that put them on the other side of the, scoreboard. And they stayed there.
Oh, this is a dumb question, but we always have to ask it after losses like that in the media. Is there a silver lining to losing a football game like that?
Silver lining to losing this game is offensively, we know that we're better at running the ball than we thought we were. On the defensive side of the ball, as long as we are where we are supposed to be, like we were during the Tyler Lee game, we just got to capitalize and do what we're supposed to do at the point of impact, which at that time is just making tackles. On the offense side of the ball, we know that we can move the ball pretty much against anybody. We just have to make sure that we take care of the small thing, which is, first of all, ball security, not fumbling, making sure we don't get the small dumb penalties like holding and offside, things of that nature. As long as we continue to do stuff like that, we're going to be just fine.
Is there anything good ever comes from losing a football game?
Nothing good comes from losing football. Like right now, the bad thing about it, we're not 3-0, we're 2-1. The good thing about it is we got a week off to make sure that we take care of the small things that we've been trying to take care of the first 2 weeks, but now we can actually focus a little bit more on it because we actually have the time to do it without trying to get ready for a game. And then you put a little bit more emphasis on the game that you're getting ready to play.
Yeah, that game you're getting ready to play is White House. And again, you've got a week and a half, but that's turned into, talk about rivalries.
Yeah.
You know, Lee's a rival, but that's a crosstown rival. It's a non-district ball game. White House actually turned into kind of a rival.
And it's actually a rivalry now because they've actually won. So, you know, it was a little bit lopsided until last year when they finally won. I think it was 55-54.
Yeah.
So now that they have won on their end and now we won on our end, now we can actually say it's a rivalry because it's a back and forth deal now.
Did the number one thing have anything to do with last week? Your guys were ranked number one in the state last week going into the ball game.
To me, it didn't because of how practice was going that week. I think it came more to effect as we went onto the field on Friday with all of the induction stuff going on and then, you know, the post interviews with everybody always bringing up the number one ranking and stuff like that. It's kind of like deja vu. You know, 2012 we went into the Lancaster game ranked number one in the state, and the same outcome. We lost that game, and it was a close game, but it was a close game because of how we played. Same deal with this one.
But the good news about that, in the end, in 2012,
had a pretty good season.
Had a pretty good season. Got all the way to the state semifinals and arguably should have won that game and played for the state championship. So you'll take the same outcome in the end, wouldn't you?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. And like I said, it may be deja vu all over again. But as we go down this stretch of district, we'll figure that out. Whether it's one of those deals that affects us the same way.
How'd you guys take? I mean, your senior group had never lost to Robert E. Lee, so how'd they take that game?
They took it hard at the beginning, but like I told them, is one loss that is a non-district loss.
Right.
What you do is you take from the mistakes, you take from the good, you tie it all together, and you get ready for your first district game because now preseason is over. That's in the books. The rivalry is over. Now you go into where it really counts, and it dictates how the rest of your season is going to go.
All right, Ricklan Holmes is with us, JT, and Robert E. Lee this past Friday night. Again, there were arguably the player of the week in East Texas could well be Jeremy Wilson from John Tyler, who put up some fantastic numbers this past Friday night. Let's roll the tape. We'll talk about Jeremy. We'll talk about the whole football game. Again, it turned out to be a 37-31 Robert E. Lee victory in the
Jeremy
end. But
Wilson
here you go.
On the first play, out the gate.
Out the gate.
Shows his speed. Offensive line done a great job blocking up front, and he hit the hole and found the crease and used his speed to make it up the field.
Yeah, here he is again. How would you describe the way Jeremy runs? He kind of scoots, doesn't he?
He does kind of scoot. You know, he's not a very tall fella, but he does have a very powerful lower body, and he uses that power and speed.
Again, an 80-yard touchdown run on the game's first, your first offensive play. Here's Gio, I think.
Yeah, this is Gio right here showing what he does well with the ball in his hand. This is a called run for him, something that we hadn't been calling very much during the first two games of the season.
Gio's a hard kid to bring down, too. He's strong, big, strong guy, too.
This right here is a pass out to the right to Tommy Dyer, a kid that's turned on, and he's becoming the player that we know he could be.
Interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. Nice young man. Sort of hung around and helped, just stayed with it, and now he's getting to play, right?
Now his senior year. Rollout pass to the left to Rodney Bendy, the North Texas commit.
He's a big target, too, 6'5".
Huge target. He's the type of guy you want to throw it to because you can't miss him.
And Rodney's playing some defense for you, too. He's playing defensive end.
And he is playing really, really good at defensive end. He's an impact player over there. Pass right here to Nick Kane, two-way starter on offense and defense. He knows how to find the holes in the defense and just have to work more on him being disciplined in his routes. You know, sometimes I think he gets confused with his athletic ability and he tries to freelance just a little bit.
There's a great pass play.
Right here to Dontavian Gross, Jr. It's his second year on varsity, and he understands what he needs to do in the offense as far as his route running ability. And he has great hands.
Done. Good play. Here's Jeremy again.
Right here, and he's going to find his way to the end zone. Good blocking on the edge by that receiver. I believe that was Nick Kane over there.
Yeah, there's a nice block right there.
Great block. Setting the edge, keeping your hands inside, making sure that they don't call holding on you.
Second of his 4 touchdowns.
Gio taking off, getting the first down right there. using his athletic ability, and keeping the chains moving.
Took a couple of them to get him on the ground, too.
Oh, yeah, he's a big guy. Little swing pass right here to Jeremy. He's going to take this up the sideline till he gets forced out of bounds. This is where he started his career, you know, catching passes like this out at the receiver position, but now he's lined up in the backfield. He's pretty much doing the same thing.
What will he play in college? Slot receiver?
He could play slot. He could be one of those third down backs. This is our 50-yard field goal by Luis Duran.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I mean, I knew he had the leg, but holy cow.
We had a conversation at the beginning of the game, you know, when everybody was warming up, and I always asked Luis and our kicking coach, Coach Friend, where he feel comfortable from today. He said, well, into the wind by 50, 52, Coach. He said, away from the wind by 40, 45. I said, okay, good to know. So when that opportunity came up, I called it, and we ended up being successful on it.
Well, he also punts for you, does a heck of a job.
Little rollout pass right here. I believe that's to Nick Kane again.
And you see they're blitzing, so Gio had to show some moxie to stand in there and fire that thing.
No, that's to Bendy again.
Bendy, okay.
Yeah. Making another great catch. Big target. Roll out left, outside the pocket.
By the way, as you pan, look at the crowd. There's a bunch
of folks
there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people at the game. Well, it's always going to be a lot of
yeah.
people at the John Tyler Robert Lee game. Somebody posted a picture on one of the social medias of Ghost Town, and they said, this is what Tyler, Texas looks like right now.
Well, that's good. The kids deserve, all of them deserve the support.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, here's a nice run. This is Jeremy again?
Yeah, I believe it was Jeremy again. Yeah, that's him coming out the backfield. Matter of fact, it was Gio pulling it.
Okay. Yeah, Gio on the zone read. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Picked up about 14 on that play.
Keep the chains moving. This little run right here to Jeremy. He's going to take this one to the end zone. Yeah. You know, he's quick, but he's also fast. Like I said, he's very strong, durable kid. He had a couple of problems early first two games with ball security. Had a couple of fumbles, but he came this game ready to run and done a good job for us.
Yeah.
18 carries on 208 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's not bad.
That's not a bad night. Not a bad night. And again, he's not afraid to take it inside either.
No, he'll run in between the tackles now.
Yeah.
There's another one where he's going to take it to the end zone.
That's his fourth score right there.
That's his fourth one. Hit the edge, good block, good cut block by Dontavian Gross.
Your wide receivers, I was
They're
looking
better
at the third touchdown.
Yeah.
They got one of those. You know, they're working hard. That's what it takes to, that's what it takes to win football games. You didn't win that football game, but let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Robert E. Lee's getting better, I guess, offensively as the night wore on. How did your guys hold up? How did you think your defense played?
We were where we were supposed to be. We just didn't make the plays that we need to make. Like I said, we had 65 missed tackles. Anytime you have that many missed tackles in a game, that means production is going well on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
And a lot of those touchdowns on Friday came from us missing some tackles. I know one time, I think we missed 2 tackles on 1 touchdown. So that's just something that we got to focus a lot more in on, like we have been. We go through tackling drills every day. So.
In a football game, how much do the guys actually feel the momentum? The crowd seems to get it. The broadcasters get it, but there were several momentum swings in that game.
Yeah.
In your favor, Lee's favor, your favor, Lee's favor in the end. Lee got the momentum at the end. Can you feel it? I mean, as well as the crowd can, and yeah, maybe even more than the crowd. And how do you turn that kind of stuff around when it happens?
You just gotta stay true to what you do. You know, when the momentum was on our side, we felt a little bit more pumped up, and we started trying to do things. But at the same time, on the Lee side, they just stayed true to what they've done. And by us making a mistake and that momentum swinging, and them continuing to do what they've been doing, Now they feel a little good about themselves. So, yeah, I mean, you feel it on both sides of the ball with the players and the coaches. But what you got to do is you just got to make sure you stay level and keep the play the same so that when that swing does come back your way, you can capitalize on it.
And there are very few football games you play where that doesn't happen, right? Where,
No, no, it's gonna happen
every once in a while you'll
football
play a
game.
game where you take it from the start and just
Start
run
to
away
the
with it,
finish.
but those don't happen very often.
Don't happen very often. Most football games at least have one momentum swing during the course of the game.
Yeah.
Depending on the production of each team, it may happen the whole game. You know.
So a game like this, you know, you're playing it and you got the crowd in there. Do the guys tune all that out when you've got probably 10,000 people, I'm guessing, out there on Friday night, and you got a half and half group? You've played in rivalry games at high school, college, even in the pros. I mean, can you tune that stuff out, or do
you try your best to, you know, but when you're dealing with 15 and 16-year-old kids, you know, it's a little bit harder for them to deal with than it is when you're in college and you're 20 plus and you're in the league and you're 20 plus, almost 30, where you're a little bit more mature and you understand, you know, this is what's going to happen. This is how you handle it when it happens. And until it happens, as a young man, you don't know how to deal with it. So, you know, being in this environment, going through what we went through to, you know, go through this, you know, the learning process begins now.
I want to know, you know, when you went, your first varsity year was 1994 when JT won state. Heck, we were just at that point just now getting used to having mobile phones, now called cell phones.
Yeah.
There was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there was no social media.
Yeah.
Now they got all this stuff. They talk to each other during the week. I mean,
The whole week.
Is it different now?
It's very
Getting guys
different.
ready to a football game to keep them from paying attention to
It's
all
very
that stuff?
different. It's very different. But the difference between how I think some people try to handle it versus how I try to handle it is that I just embrace it. I let my kids know, hey, I know what's going on the social media. I have a Twitter. I have an Instagram. I see what you're posting. Just make sure we're posting things that keep us to where we're humble and we understand that the game is the game and we all got to play it to win or lose. So as long as they don't post anything that's disrespectful, I know kids are going to talk smack back and forth. That's fine. That's a part of football.
Like they all know each other in a game like this, right?
And you just got to make sure that, you know, you keep it clean, you keep it fair, and you make sure that, you know, you don't degrade or put anybody in harm's way with words that you could put out there.
How do you handle distractions now? Is it different now than it was when Alan Wilson was ruling with an iron fist over at John Tyler High School in the 90s?
It's pretty much the same. You know, it's just more distractions. But it's pretty much the same.
There are more distractions now, aren't there?
Yeah. So now what you do is you just make sure that you stay true to what you do every day, and make sure your kids know that you're staying true to what you do every day. And hopefully, during the course of that, they start catching on and understanding, hey, this is why we do what we do. This is why they say what they say. This is why what happens happens. So it's one of those deals where I'm getting used to it, and the kids are getting used to it, and they're starting to understand that, you know, this is how you be a professional. You know, success, everybody can't handle. Some people can handle it, some people can't. The deal with us, like I told them, you got to understand that you're going to always be somewhere where somebody's going to notice you. So how do you notice being noticed? Well, first of all, you be yourself. You stay humble, you stay true to what you do, you understand how you got here and what you need to do to stay here.
That's when a football coach becomes a kid coach too, right?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
All right, let's shift gears a minute now. Okay, this is an off week. It's not. No, it's a bye week.
It's a bye week. It ain't off.
It ain't off. You don't play this week. Okay, you don't play this week. How do you handle this week? What happens?
Well, right now you tone back your practices. Like, you know, on Monday, you know, you lift your weights. You go out there, you do some special teams. You let your kids have the opportunity to make sure they take care of their grades in the morning and after school. You do that probably the first 2 days, and then on Wednesday, now you start kind of gearing back to how you normally do practice, but you just break it down into segments. And then on Thursday, you add a little bit more to what you did on Wednesday, and then on Friday, you get back to your normal routine as far as your practice schedule go and what y'all doing, so that you can get ready going into that next week.
I'm forgetting, does White House play this week?
They're off too this week.
They're off this week, so you don't get to go scout on Friday.
You don't get to go scout there. You don't get to go scout there. And I'm not really big on scouting because video is video.
Yeah.
You're going to see everything that you want to see on Huddle.
Right.
You get the flow of the game from Huddle. The only thing that you don't get to see, the only thing you don't get out of Huddle is the sound, which when we got the video from White House, they still had the sound on there, so you get that too.
Yeah, well, and for folks not familiar, you know, the technology of coaching has changed Huddle What is Huddle?
Huddle is a video system that is put together for scouting, for all high school football teams, and some college teams use Huddle. They also have other programs out there, but just so happen Huddle is the more efficient program for high school football right now.
So you can go on Huddle.
You can.
And you post each week, you put up, what would you upload?
You upload the video from the game on Friday, and then with the video that you upload on there, you can use that to break down and put your game plan together for the week coming up. We also use that to put together our kids' highlights that we send out to the colleges each week, letting them know, hey, this is what this kid done this week.
So you upload your stuff, and so the opposing team can look at it, but at the same.
But you have to do an exchange, and what we do when we do exchange, like. When on Friday, we uploaded our film, White House uploaded their film. So then we sent in an exchange to White House. White House clicks on exchange. They say, hey, we sending them the same thing that they sent us. They click accept. It goes to us, theirs go to ours.
So that way you don't get left holding the bag, right?
That's right.
They get your stuff,
and it
you don't
takes
get
away
theirs,
the old school deal of where you had to go meet. You know, hey, we're going to meet halfway between such and such, and you bring me your video, I bring you my video.
Which is the way it was for many years, right?
So now everything is via the internet.
So you're able to at least get an early start on looking at them for next week then, right?
Yes, because most coaches in our profession right now, we always trade at least two films early that week. And then we always trade that game night film that next morning.
The district begins next week. Of course, this was a realignment year. Now, you're not in the district of Longview, but you got Lufkin in your district now, and White House is in your district. Let's talk about your district, your realigned district, which begins next week.
The district is pretty much the same as far as having White House, Jacksonville, Corsicana, Lindale, Nacogdoches in that district. But now you add two very strong opponents from different classes and different districts, which is Ennis and Lufkin. Lufkin is somebody we played over the past couple of years. They also have been a district opponent when I was playing. And then
Did they win Friday night? I don't know if they won.
They lost against John Curtis.
Okay.
From Longview. Not Long. I said Longview. From Louisiana. They lost to them at the Border Bowl.
Otherwise, they'd be the number one team.
Yeah, they
in the
probably
state
would
this
be
week.
the number one team. But with the way everything happened this week, it was a lot of people that lost. That was in the top 10 this week. So it'd be interesting to see what the poll looks like. Probably today or tomorrow.
You, by the way, the non-district schedule, pretty good non-district schedule. Plano, traditionally strong. Longview, traditionally very strong. And then your crosstown rivals. Yeah. So, and you didn't play anybody that you didn't think that you couldn't get something out of the game.
You
didn't schedule just for the sake of getting.
You got to schedule teams that's going to get you ready to go in the district. And I believe that putting Plano, which is a strong 6A powerhouse, on the schedule, along with a Longview, which is traditionally a strong team, and then another 6A school that is on the rise, which is Robert Lee, which we know we got to play every year. And then just going through that intense rivalry, that week, that Friday, that atmosphere is going to get you ready for any kind of atmosphere that you're going to face during the season.
All right, let's talk about the district. From what you've seen of White House so far, by the way, they're undefeated. Patrick Mahomes is gone.
Yeah, he's at Texas Tech. He's in Lubbock now.
He's in Lubbock now. But you know what? They've got a young man in there, and we'll talk more about it next week. And a young man named Jackson Allen, who looks like he's doing a pretty good job.
He's a pretty good quarterback. He is doing some very, very good things for them right now. He's not as mobile as Mahomes was, but he does throw the ball just as well. He's very disciplined. He does a lot of looks like he does a lot of check downs as far as having control of the offense that puts them in position to make some plays. And he has some pretty good receivers to throw it to too. So
and the district looks. Look at Jacksonville. They didn't win a game last year. They're 3-0 right now.
But they was one of those teams where you knew they had the talent to turn it around and be successful. So them winning this early doesn't surprise me. It may surprise some other people that don't know much about football. But when you know about football and you see the plays that they made, the production that they do have, eventually that success is going to come. Kind of like with Robert Lee right now.
Yeah, Nacogdoches. They're boy, they were pretty strong last year. They got 2 or 3 Division I guys on that team. Not a bad football team.
Not a bad football team. If you got the talent and you get the coaching staff there to know what to do with those guys, you're going to have some success.
And Lufkin, again, you mentioned them. But Ennis is kind of a wild card. I mean, they've been sitting, down there on Interstate 45, and They've won some state championships, but they were throwing the ball all over the lot. They've kind of changed their. Have they changed up? They're more of a running team now.
They are more of a running team because of what they have. I mean, they have some big guys up front, and they have a very strong tailback. So basically, what they're doing is they're playing into what the hand that they're dealt with.
Yeah.
You know, for the past couple of years, they've been known to throwing, especially when they had the Graham guys come through, and that's when they was winning all the state championships and everything. That was the tools that they had. They had a great throwing quarterback. They had some great skilled guys, and they used the perimeter to get it done. And
Lindale, I think we overlooked Lindale and Corsicana can't do that either, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, Lindale is going to be Lindale. They're going to have a pretty productive quarterback. Offense is steady. Defense is solid.
Beat Chapel Hill earlier this year.
Corsicana, very disciplined, athletic defense.
Yeah.
They just have to get an offense to go with it. I think if they start turning around the production on the offense side of the ball, they're going to be a force to deal with in our district.
Do you have to coach these kids back into, I mean, the disappointment of losing a game like that? I'm sure they hear about it. I mean, it's a crosstown rival. They probably heard about it this past weekend. What do you say to them about that, just kind of moving past this stuff now? Because on Lee's point of view, they had to forget on Saturday morning. They basically had to say, okay, that was nice.
That was nice, but we're over it.
We're over it now. Yeah. You got to have to do the same thing, don't you?
Oh, same thing. You know, Friday night, you're mad about it, you're upset about it. Saturday morning, when you wake up, it's a whole new day.
Yeah.
That game is over with. Let's move forward. Let's get ready for what we need to get ready for, which is to win the district title.
Which is kind of what, I mean, again, you hate to keep making these old cliches about comparisons to life, but isn't that kind of what folks have to do every day in life anyway?
Every day. That's what you got to do. Football and life go hand in hand to me. I tell the kids all the time, you know, the things that you go through in football, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go through the same deals in life. And it may not be in the same context, but the character's going to be the same.
Yeah. I mean, there might not be a score up on the board every day, but, you know, you kind of know whether you had a good day
or not. If you're working out in the workforce, you know, hey,
did I give it my best today?
Last Wednesday, I didn't have a good Wednesday.
Yeah.
But now it's Thursday. I just woke up.
Nothing I do about Wednesday, right?
Hey, you got to forget about Wednesday, and you got to get ready for Thursday, because Thursday is the day that really counts now, because that's the day that you got to take care of.
Finally, how are your sub-varsity teams doing right now?
I think they're doing pretty good. You know, I think they were disappointed they didn't get to play last week, last Thursday, because
the weather wiped it all out.
The weather got bad, so they had basically 2 weeks off. So they had 2 bye weeks. But I think that the freshman team is looking very solid, very talented group. But when you bring in kids from different middle schools and you bringing them together, you have to have them all learn the same thing, which they all coming from.
Got to learn the language, right?
Yeah, they coming from different deals that they were doing at their middle school. So their production early wasn't as successful as we thought it was going to be with the talent that they had. But now that everything is starting to come into play and they're starting to understand all the things that we do at John Tyler, I look for them to win district.
It's money time starting next week.
That's right. That's right. This is where it all counts. This is where everything really comes to light, and this is where you dictate the rest of your season now.
Yeah, it's district play. And again, that begins a week from Friday night. The first district game is on the road. It's at White House. JT and White House have had some great games in the last 3 years, and we expect nothing less in this coming game. And of course, again, it is on the road, and the John Tyler Lions need and deserve your support as they open district play against the Wildcats coming up. Again, that game just around the corner on the 26th of September. So look forward to that. Coach Holmes and I'll be back at the same time next week to talk about it on Coach's Corner. Thanks for joining us.